Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the new formation tactics video to do today for the 3-5-2. Now, the reason why I'm using the 3-5-2 right now is because I was using the 4-2-3-1 and the 4-4-2 from that video before the patch happened, because it was working really well during that time. And I was playing some FIFA games today because obviously you kind of have to test out how the game is being played and how your players are moving. And I realized that with the same exact team that I had before with the 4-2-3-1 with Rashford in the team and Alex Telles and all that stuff, it just wasn't really working that well for some reason. It could be a combination of the gameplay and stuff, but I really don't think it was. Like, their attacking AI movement was very stagnant. They just weren't really doing much, right? So I kind of got fed up. I switched to the 3-5-2 because 3-5-2 is a really well balanced formation for you to be able to have fun on the attack and have fun in the defensive areas because of the way that it's set up in all areas of the pitch. The types of players that you want to have for the 3-5-2 is not necessarily what you see on your screen. This is my review account. Don't really do too much on this account because you guys have probably seen this team a billion times, to be honest, because we just focus on getting the player reviews to be able to create the content in that way. But with a team that we have over here, I'll show you an example of how I'm lined up in game, right? So we have João Felix and Felipe Anderson as strikers. We have Luis Suarez as the cam. We have the attacking and defensive-oriented midfielder in Herrera as a CDM. We have the defensive-oriented midfielder in De Jong as the other CDM. And then we have Kleiber off to the right, Robin off to the left, and then we have Alex Telles, Varane, and Koundé in the defensive positions. So the way that this team is formatted right now is based off of this, right? So it's based off of press after possession loss, long ball tactics. The reason why I switched to this is because I got really frustrated that my attacking AI was doing nothing, and I was getting really frustrated with how my defensive AI was lined up when someone was attacking against me. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge advocate of fixing the through balls because the through balls are really stupid this year because they avoid the defensive opposition, and people get rewarded for really bad through balls, and then the ones that should make sense inside the 18-yard box don't work that well. So you do have to be careful about that specifically. But with the way that this team is set up with press after possession loss, we have it set to 7 for width, 10 for depth. Reason being for this is because we actually have the midfielders set up like this. We actually don't touch the right mid and we don't touch the left mid because by default, I feel like they come back in defense anyways, especially if they're on press after possession loss. They try their best to mark players if an empty space is there anyways, right? Kleiber does it more often than Robin, but if Kleiber comes back into position as a defensive oriented player, it's basically kind of like a back four with Kleiber, Koundé, Varane, and Alex Telles occupying that space. So it's not necessarily a big deal if Arjen Robben doesn't always come back, right? With the two midfielders, we have it set to cut pass lanes, cover center, but we do not tell them to stay back while attacking because they actually influence the attacking play in a very good way because of the long ball tactics with them overcommitting into certain spaces. Now, don't get me wrong, you have to be decent at manual defending when you are using this, but when I tell you guys that this is a very fun formation to use because it's very attacking oriented, it's honestly fantastic. I found out about this formation and tactics from my player reviews actually, because when I do defensive player reviews, I usually use super aggressive tactics so that I can kind of test them on the attack and the defense for really clean cut chances and whatnot. And I realized as I was playing in the patch before that the tactics were actually pretty decent, right? So I decided to use it again. We were playing some Division 1 games. Normally what happens with this account, for the review account, we're usually lingering around like Division 4, Division 5 for the player reviews just to have less stress for doing that. But usually when they do a new patch, we get to Division 1 by playing a lot of games, obviously, and testing out new stuff to see what the vibes are. You guys are going to obviously see the highlights of the types of teams that we came across and all that fun stuff. One guy had a insane team. I think he was like a 2050 skill rating, something like that, 2100 skill rating, something like that. I can't even remember. But yeah, with the 3-5-2 instructions, we have it set to nothing on the center backs. We don't touch them at all. The two CDMs, like I said, is cut pass lanes, cover center. Left mids and right mids are untouched. The cam is untouched, and the two strikers are untouched. As you guys know with me, I'm a really big guy on attacking AI, right? So because I already have the long ball tactic set up with 7 for width and 10 for players in the box, I feel like I don't need to tell them to get in behind. I don't need to tell them to stay central, be a target man. I'm just playing off of them making good attacking AI runs. And with the way that the team is set up right now, I'm not crazy about João Felix, but he moves nicely with Suarez and Felipe Anderson, right? So it's kind of like compensation for certain areas, because the problem with this team is that Suarez cannot be a striker, because for you to be able to utilize the long ball tactic as much as possible, you need players that have pace, right? So with João Felix and Felipe Anderson, they have the pace to be able to get behind the 18-yard box and score some opportunities for me while I have fun using a Portuguese and Porto player, right? And then with Luis Suarez being the cam, like I tell you guys in some of the reviews that we do, it's not as big of a deal if your cam doesn't have the pace. In Suarez's case, he has the engine chemistry style, so it boosts his pace, it boosts his dribbling, it boosts his passing. So if we take a look at his stats, he still has 86 for acceleration and 82 for sprint speed, while boosting his dribbling as much as possible. Passing is phenomenal, and then he's got the shooting. So, if I get like a finesse shot angle, or I get any sort of angle where I can potentially score a nice opportunity, he'll be able to do that for me as well, because he actually does score a lot of opportunities for me as well. So those are the tactics, those are the instructions for the post-patch stuffs. Let's get into the highlights and talk about my thought process in regards to how I was attacking with the team. Okay, guys, so normally when I use these types of formations and tactics, right, I usually start off with them on 5 and 5, right? So I start with the 3-5-2, 5 and 5. I don't put any instructions on any of the players because I just want to see how they're going to move on the pitch, right? I need to see whether or not I want my players to be more aggressive in the attack, the defense, all that fun stuff, right? So again, when I was using a formation like the 4-2-3-1, at the time, the attacking AI, it just wasn't really doing that much, right? And with the 3-5-2, I felt like it was moving really well. I just felt like it wasn't consistent enough, if that makes any sense, right? Consistency is obviously a big part for me when it comes to attacking AI, seeing space really quickly. And with the long ball tactic, I feel like you can force those runs out of the players more, especially since you have it set to 10 players in the box. Now, a lot of the breakdown of teams when using this formation is utilizing the side positions as much as possible and aiming for two different things, right? So one of the things that you will be aiming for is opening up space for the middle when you make that side pass, right? So it could be a combination of, once you make that side pass, your players start utilizing that long ball tactic as much as possible. So they just bullet forward, like in a situation like this where we have the ball, Tellez, Felix, Suarez, everyone's just bulleting forward. So we have that space to work with, right? So that's one of the ways that you can score some opportunities against your opponents. The other way that you can score some opportunities against your opponents is when you're stretching out the play and then you transition back into the middle, right? So in a situation like this, when I was initially attacking, we were working with the space through the sides, and then we went into the middle to utilize that space as well. When I was playing against this guy that had like this crazy squad, I think this was the moment that I switched certain players in certain positions, because I realized that I needed certain characteristics in certain areas, right? So in a situation like this, you can see that my players start being more aggressive because of the players around them. With Suarez being on 80-something pace, it just wasn't necessarily ideal to have him in that striker position to score a lot of the opportunities for me. So I think it was in this game in particular where I completely switched to those aggressive attacking tactics, because you could see initially that some of the movements of the players, it could have been more aggressive in certain situations, especially from that really, really garbage first goal that I scored. It was very important for me to understand how I wanted my players to move, right? So you can see here, one of the combination plays that you can use is when your strikers move to the side positions and you make that pass with your cam, and then they can utilize that empty space through the middle. Over here, you can't really shoot that ball right away, so you kind of have to go for that heel-to-heel angle flick, because you just want to increase your consistency as much as possible. When you get close to the goalkeeper, you kind of have to chip the ball a certain way. I've seen it recently. And because I don't really do chips that much, I usually just go for the ball roll touches and the heels to heels to get past the goalkeepers. And we could totally do a video for finishing, because I know that people were actually wondering about that a lot. But in a situation like this, you can see that the build-up happened from the midfield position, right? Side position back into the midfield, get the ball there with Suarez. Nice little scoop turn from the first touch. He's inside the 18-yard box from the long ball tactic to be able to score an opportunity like that. I want you to take a look at this attacking AI stuff right here too, right? So working the space in the middle, everyone's making some great aggressive oriented runs, right? Make that pass, beautiful goal right there. Working the space with Felipe Anderson and João Felix through the middle, really nice. When I was using Philippe Anderson's card at first, I think it was before the main upgrade of the card, the problem that the card had was that it was very generic at the time, right? But this Philippe Anderson's card attacking AI has become significantly better ever since he got that upgrade. A situation like this with Suarez, beautiful volley, obviously, but you could see the long ball tactic is not bad to have when he's a cam making that run forward, right? So, but like I was saying, Philippe Anderson definitely got improved in that area. If they end up by some miracle beating Juventus in the Champions League, then that extra upgrade will definitely be very nice as well. But yeah, a lot of the play, guys, it just really revolves around understanding where your players will move from base characteristics and then kind of understanding how you want to transition on the attack from moving to the sides and then going back into the middle, or overcommitting the side and then making those runs through the middle with the long ball tactic, making those passes and scoring a lot of goal scoring opportunities. So it's a fun tactic to use. I highly recommend it, guys. The biggest thing with this team is actually the two midfielders on balance instructions. We do not tell them to stay back while attacking, because them getting involved in the attacking play and playing to their work rates is going to be a very, very important thing to make this formation work for you guys. So hopefully you guys try it out, enjoy it, all that fun stuff. I'm probably gonna be trying it out for maybe a little bit of Foot Champs, but we'll see, because the content is gonna be crazy with the Future Stars when that comes out. So probably gonna have to get a review for literally every single player. So we'll see what the vibes are at the time, guys. But hopefully you guys enjoy this video. I'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace out, dudes. Bye.